Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today let's dig a bit deeper into Microsoft Fabric disaster recovery. And I'm going to explain just how much of a joke it is using Microsoft's own documentation to boot. And by the end of it, I'm going to explain why Microsoft Fabric will never have acceptable DR for some companies, as well as why DR is becoming more and more and more important these days. So before we get into all of that, let's review why is Microsoft Fabric DR disaster recovery? Why does it matter, right? Because Microsoft Fabric is wanting you to put more valuable assets into Fabric than they did with like Power BI, for example. So if I was to rate like 1 through 4, let's say the most important stuff that you need to protect in an analytics environment, right? Number one's going to be your data and your storage, right? Number one, right? Because like your data warehouse or your lake house, it has a much wider blast zone, right? If that gets taken out, right, it impacts everything downstream from it, right? So that's the first thing you got to protect. The second thing I would put on the list would be your pipelines, your notebooks, your transformational logic, orchestration, right? You want to protect that as well. That's the second most thing to protect because again, well, with that, you probably spent months or years putting all of that into place and getting it tuned and all of that sort of thing, and it probably doesn't exist anywhere else, right? Oh, and the other thing about your data warehouse, your lakehouse, right? It probably has historical data in it that does not exist anywhere, right? There's a good probability of that, right? That no longer is in your production environments like your ERP and things like that, right? It's been purged because it's like 10 years old, so and that sort of thing. So there's a good possibility that it holds data that does not exist anywhere. Third most important thing I would say would be like your semantic models and things like that, business definitions, that sort of thing. And then your fourth would be your reports and your dashboards, right? Because your reports and dashboards, yes, that's what people look at every day and that sort of thing, but they can be recreated pretty easily. They can also be, have backups, we probably have them in SharePoint or OneDrive or people's local files, right? There's backups upon backups upon backups of those things. And those are really just kind of just metadata around the data, right? So that would be my ranking as far as the most important things. So Power BI, right? It stored semantic models in your reports and your dashboards, right? But it didn't include things like orchestration and all of that. It didn't include data warehouses and lake houses and things like that, right? So DR wasn't as important with Power BI, even though by the end of this video, you'll understand why Power BI actually has better DR than Microsoft Fabric does, as bizarre as that might sound. But let's get into this, right? So reliability, Microsoft Fabric. So I'm on, Microsoft's Learn site, and this is their document about reliability regarding the Microsoft Fabric. And they have basically for free, they have the zone disaster recovery. So within a region, there's different zones and they replicate the data around and that sort of thing. So if one zone fails, services fail over to the remaining zones, all that kind of fun stuff. But for real disaster recovery, right, you actually have to turn that on. This is for regional kind of disaster recovery. So there's a setting here, right here, in your tenant settings, capacity settings to turn on disaster recovery, right? And it says, with disaster recovery on, data sources used in Fabric items are replicated to secondary regions, providing access to your organization's critical data in case of a service interruption. Fabric items include, but are not limited to, lake houses, warehouses, notebooks, and Apache Spark job definitions. Fabric disaster recovery may not be available in your region. Now, the problem with that statement, it almost sounds great. Oh, I click this on and everything's done. It's real simple. Why are you saying that disaster recovery is bad or hard in Microsoft Fabric? Well, that statement right there is a complete and utter fabrication, if you will. It's literally a lie in at least one instance, right? Notebooks, it says that are limited, but they include but are limited to notebooks. Disaster recovery in Fabric doesn't even cover notebooks. Okay, they say that later on. I'll show it to you later on in this document. So they say that it's covered in their statement here, and it's not. So Microsoft is lying to you about disaster recovery, just flat out lying to you about it in this statement. So terrible. All right. So now the first thing to know about disaster recovery in Microsoft Fabric is it uses regional pairings. Okay, so Azure regional pairings. So there are pairs of regions um, within Azure, right? And so the disaster recovery only extends to those different regional pairings, right? And here they are. So paired regions. So Australia Central fails over to Australia Central 2, Australia Central 2 fails over to Australia Central, on down the line. Now, number one thing, this is never going to work for some companies, right? Because some companies, they're like, well, our production site is in the US and our disaster recovery site is in Europe. Okay, you can't do that with Microsoft Fabric. So if you have a requirement like that, right, Microsoft Fabric is a no-go for you, right? Because it doesn't exist. That does not is not a capability of Microsoft Fabric's DR. It is only between regions, and generally those regions, I think, in one case, right, Brazil South fails over to South Central U.S., right? That's about the only case that I could find where it actually goes out of the actual country that it's in, right? So yeah, and if you have a real disaster recovery, that's a requirement for you. Microsoft Fabric can't hack it. All right. And then there's a bunch of regions, right? Here they all are. If you're in one of these regions, you're out of luck, right? Microsoft Fabric does not have a paired region, so it doesn't provide any kind of disaster recovery at all, right? So if you're in Spain, Poland, right, in the central, Poland, central, Spain, central, Italy, Denmark, Belgium, Austria, Israel, Qatar, Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, Chile, Mexico, you're out of luck, right? So there you go. All right, so that's problem, right? That's maybe problem number one, you could say. Um, so then the other interesting thing about this is billing, right? So in billing, disaster recovery feature in Microsoft enables geo-replication of your data. I wouldn't go so far as geo-replication, but yeah, sure. You can fail from one country, from a data center in one country or region to another region in the same country. Okay, I don't count that as true geo, like my definition of what I do with geo. Anyway, I I have a problem with that wording, but that's okay. We can go on. The main point is that they actually bill you for it. Okay. Now in Power BI, you had the same capability, right? You could fail over there, use paired regions, right? And your Power BI would fail over from one region to another, but you didn't pay for it. Right? So Microsoft kind of sneakily kind of started, having you pay for something that you got for free in Power BI, right? Because Power BI, it included disaster recovery, what I just explained in terms of the regional failovers, right? Between, this Azure region to this Azure region, but it included in the price of your Power BI. So Power BI actually had better DR in that respect because it was already, you didn't have to pay extra for it. You have to pay extra for it in Microsoft Fabric. So, you know, there you go. Now, disaster failover. Now, the important thing is that you want to read is this right here. In disaster recovery, in disaster scenario, the Fabric portal and Power BI are in read-only mode, and other Fabric items are unavailable. You can access their data stored in OneLake using APIs or third-party tools. Both Portal and Power BI retain the ability to perform read-write operations on that data. This ability ensures the critical data remains accessible, modifiable, and mitigates potential disruption of your business. Right. So what I said in the previous video about Microsoft Fabric will protect your data, but they won't protect your warehouse or your lakehouse. Basically, that's the case, right? You have to go recreate all that stuff manually. And it's actually, if you go through the list and stuff like that here, it's here's the one on Notebook. Notebook, you can't open notebooks and code content isn't saved after the disaster. So it doesn't back up notebooks, right? So notebooks aren't included in like they said in that statement up there, notebooks aren't included in disaster recovery, basically. Lakehouse, where you can't open these items, but you can access files through OneLake APIs or tools. Fabric portal, you can access the portal. It's read only, right? Power BI, you can perform read operations like displaying dashboards and reports, refreshes, report, publish operations, blah, blah, blah. And other operations that require changes to metadata aren't supported, right? So actually, I'll show you, actually, Power BI disaster recovery got worse once they went to Fabric, right? Notebook, you can't open notebooks and code content isn't saved after the disaster. ML model experiments, you can't open ML models or experiments. Code content and metadata, such as run metrics and configurations, aren't saved after the disaster. You can't open data flow Gen 2 pipelines or event streams or anything like that, but you can use supported disaster recovery destinations to protect data. KQL database query sets. You can't access these after the failover. More steps are required to protect them, right? So you get the picture, right? It's a total kind of debacle, as I was planning. Like nobody could like seriously take this as like this is a serious disaster recovery plan or capability within the platform, right? Um, so now the interesting thing is the recovery plan, they give you the recovery steps. Well, you really need to go to here, and this is how the actual disaster recovery actually works. So when you turn on disaster recovery, you have your region A capacities, right, and all that. You also, when you turn on disaster recovery, it creates one in region B, right, the paired Azure region, right? It creates the same thing over here. Now, when a disaster happens, then this is gone, and now you have to move this stuff into a new production instance, essentially. So you have to replicate everything over and then rebuild everything. Now, what's interesting about this is that this is not available until there is a failure. Okay. And you cannot initiate a failure, right? What that means, and this is gonna be a problem for a lot of other companies, right? That are serious about their disaster recovery, is that you can't test anything. You just basically have to wing it once a failure happens, right? Because you cannot go through your disaster recovery plan and actually execute it and test it out and make sure it all works, right? Because this isn't available to you. So what that means is that you don't have a plan, really. You have a belief, right? In Microsoft Fabric, you only have a belief that you can do disaster recovery. But because anyone that's serious about disaster recovery knows that if you have not tested your disaster recovery plan, you do not have a disaster recovery plan. Period. End of story. Okay. That is how that actually works. Right. In fact, the people that do DR the best are the companies that they have their production system, they have their DR system, and they'll go through and they'll fail it over. And now your DR site is now your production site, and your production site is now your DR site until such time that they want to fail it back, right? They actually go through these things and they walk through the entire disaster recovery and they do it. They actually do the plan, right? That is the only proper way to do real disaster recovery when you have data, when you're trying to protect something as critical as the data, the lifeblood of your business, right? To do anything else would be stupid, right? And irresponsible, in my opinion, right? So there you go. Now, if you go through this, actually, I don't know why I was searching for notebook, but Lakehouse, using custom script to copy Lakehouse Delta tables and files. Basically, you have to go through and run all these manual scripts and synchronization and everything else. Use Azure Storage Explorer to copy files and tables. It's all basically manual, right? You have to go through the entire thing, right? So notebooks from the primary region remain unavailable to customers, and the code in the notebooks aren't replicated to the secondary region. So why did Microsoft state in the other thing that notebooks are included in disaster recovery when they aren't, right? You basically have to use user managed redundancy with Git integration. That's in preview, right? That's one option. And then I think they have another manual approach to backing up code content. So basically just save it local, right? So just unbelievably bad. And like each different thing has a different set of, different approaches and different things you have to do, but they're all manual. It's all manual, right? That's Microsoft disaster recovery. The interesting thing also is that they say in here, somewhere in here, they're like, it can take, there's no, basically it takes what it takes in order if a failover happens. But it's generally less than an hour. Right now, back in Power BI days, right? When in Power BI, if you just had Power BI and not Fabric, right, it's a lot better, actually. So Power BI disaster recovery in Fabric is worse than just Power BI on its own, right? Because in Power BI on its own, it'll fail over in 15 minutes. And I think the zone failover is like 30 seconds if you go through this document, right? And you don't have to pay anything for it, don't have to do anything extra. And it's all, when it fails over to the other site, it's all still available. So you can do whatever you want to with it. Still, you can still publish stuff to it and everything else. So Fabric has much worse disaster recovery, capabilities than Power BI, just pure Power BI did, right? Now, last thing. Here's the other reason why Fabric will never be good for some companies. They'll never use Fabric for anything that is mission critical or have critical data or anything like that. And I'll explain exactly why. Because Fabric will never be multi-cloud, right? In Snowflake, you can do multi-cloud. In Databricks, you can. It's not as easy as Snowflake. I'll say that, but you can do multi-cloud with Databricks, right? And multi-cloud disaster recovery and that sort of thing. Snowflake supports multi-cloud, and that Fabric will never be multi-cloud. And that is becoming, I see that becoming increasingly a requirement that is out there for a lot of companies. If they're going to put again, if they're going to put their most important, stuff up there, up in the cloud, right, and they're going to put their warehouses and all that sort of stuff that hold all their historical data that doesn't exist anywhere else, you're damn right they're going to protect it, and they want multi-cloud these days. And more, I keep seeing it. I used to poo-poo the whole multi-cloud thing, but I get it, in terms of especially these days, and I'll tell you why it's even more important these days. AI, right? I would probably, how do I put this? I think that there is probably a significant chance over the next decade, the next 10 years, that AI, either a rogue AI or somebody using AI, will take out one of the three biggest hyperscalers, right? Either Microsoft, AWS, or Google. I think there's a significant risk of that. We just saw that with like GPT, like one of its AIs going rogue and attacking its competitors and things like that, right? That's going to happen, folks, right? There's a significant threat, especially with how fast the people are moving forward with AI, and how slow the regulations, and nobody wants to put the brakes on it. It makes it even more likely. So if that happens, then basically Microsoft Azure just goes away for a day, 2, 3 days, right? Before people can can recover from an AI, hack or attack, then you're out of luck. If you're not using multi-cloud. So I think it's becoming increasingly likely that that's going to happen. Basically it's a real risk these days. So multi-cloud, people that are serious about their DR are going to use multi-cloud, and just Fabric will never be multi-cloud. So there you have it. It costs you extra money, right? Whereas in Power BI, it didn't. It's worse disaster recovery than Power BI, right? It's not real geo redundancy. Like you can't go basically between countries and have your DR systems, right? It's incredibly manual, and it'll never be multi-cloud. So that's why Fabric fails the disaster recovery test in my book. And it'll never. I don't see how they make it any better, right? Maybe in the next 3 years, I'll have a different story to tell about Microsoft Fabric disaster recovery, but that's the story today. That is all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.